Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Saira Mujtaba bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. India and France hold 36th strategic dialogue in New Delhi. India's Prime Minister meets Chairman and CEO of Microsoft Corporation on his Digital India vision. India to emerge as the most competitive source of green hydrogen and ammonia for the world, says Energy Minister Singh. France promises first Western tanks in support of Ukrainian army. U.S. House of Representatives adjourns again after Republicans failed to elect a new speaker for the sixth time. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak vows to tackle pressing concerns in the country, from cutting inflation to reducing illegal migration. And in cricket, Sri Lanka sets a target of 207 runs for India in the second T20 international. And now the news in detail. India and France held the 36th Strategic Dialogue in New Delhi on Thursday. The Indian delegation was led by National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, while the French delegation was led by French President Emmanuel Macron's diplomatic advisor Emmanuel Bonnet. Briefing media in New Delhi, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said India and France held discussions on various issues, including the current global security situation in the context of conflict of Ukraine, regional security in the context of Afghanistan, counter-terrorism, defense cooperation in the Indo-Pacific, and cyber security. On Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's tweets on Jammu and Kashmir, the spokesperson reiterated that Jammu and Kashmir is an inalienable and integral part of India. He said Article 370 is entirely a matter of India as well as the Indian Constitution, and it is a sovereign matter. Replying to a query on the death of 3 Russians in Orissa, Mr. Bagchi said that deaths should not be linked together. He further said that India is a large country where a lot of foreigners visit. He said necessary investigation is being carried out into the deaths. Diplomatic advisor to the French President Emmanuel Macron, Emmanuel Bonnet, called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi on Thursday. On the occasion, Mr. Modi highlighted the close cooperation between India and France in various domains of their strategic partnership, including defense, security, and the Indo-Pacific. He also welcomed France's support to India's G20 presidency. Mr. Bonnet conveyed President Macron's message of friendship to Prime Minister Modi and briefed him on the strategic dialogue with National Security Advisor Ajit Doval held earlier during the day. Discussions were also held on other areas of mutual interest and cooperation, including energy and culture. Earlier, Mr. Bonnet met with External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. They had a useful exchange of views on current issues of mutual interest. Chairman and CEO of Microsoft Corporation, Satya Nadella, met Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, countries' strides in technology and innovation are ushering in an era of tech-led growth. He said the youth is filled with ideas which have the potential to transform the planet. In a tweet, Mr. Nadella thanked the Prime Minister for an insightful meeting. He said it is inspiring to see the government's deep focus on sustainable and inclusive economic growth led by digital transformation. He said Microsoft is looking forward to helping India realize the Digital India vision and be a light for the world. Power and New and Renewable Energy Minister of India, Singh, has said that India will emerge as the most competitive source of green hydrogen and ammonia for the world. Terming the Union Cabinet's decision for the National Green Hydrogen Mission a bold and pioneering step, the minister expressed confidence that the country will achieve the 5 million metric tons of annual production of green hydrogen before the deadline of 2030. Briefing media in New Delhi on Thursday, Mr. Singh said the country is working to reduce the dependence on fossil fuel imports and the green hydrogen mission will help in achieving energy autonomy. He said the country has a competitive advantage in the production of green hydrogen as it has the necessary resources and a strong and thriving industry in the green energy sector. He said India has the potential to produce green energy at a very competitive rate. The minister expressed confidence that domestic industries can supply green hydrogen and ammonia at a lower price in comparison to other countries. On Wednesday, the Union Cabinet had approved the National Green Hydrogen Mission with an initial outlay of 19,744 crore rupees. The aim of this mission is to make India the global hub for production and export of green hydrogen. The mission will lead to significant decarbonization of the economy. In today's Hotspot section, we bring you a news commentary on India's ties with Cyprus and Austria set for upward swing.
India and Cyprus have been traditionally very close and friendly. Diplomatic ties between Cyprus and India were established on 10 February 1962. India had consistently supported the freedom struggle of Cyprus and subsequently solution of the Cyprus problem based on UNSC resolutions, international law and the EU acquis. Cyprus has consistently supported India on crucial issues including India's candidature as permanent member of the expanded UNSC, the India-US Civil Nuclear Agreement within the NSG and the IAEA. In 2006, Cyprus assisted India in evacuation of Indians from Lebanon under Operation Sukoon. High-level visits have been part of India-Cypriot bilateral relations. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar concluded his two-nation visit to Cyprus and Austria. The External Affairs Minister's visit to the two nations witnessed wide-ranging discussions on a series of matters, reaffirmation of strong diplomatic ties with both nations, talks around India-EU ties, and signing agreements on several key issues, including migration and mobility. During his visit, Dr. Jaishankar held meetings around bilateral relations and international as well as regional issues of mutual interest. The External Affairs Minister also met the President of the House of Representatives and Acting President Anita Demetriou and exchanged views on several important regional and global issues, including the Ukraine conflict. He also held a meeting with Cypriot Foreign Minister Ioannis Kasoulides. They appreciated the excellent bilateral relations and close cooperation between India and Cyprus. Both ministers reviewed in detail the entire gamut of bilateral relations, including economic, commercial, strategic and cultural ties. Various agreements were inked in various areas, including the important defense and military cooperation between the two countries. India and Cyprus also signed a letter of intent on migration and mobility partnership, which will provide a common framework of arrangement and cooperation to facilitate the mobility of students, academics, business people and professionals. Cyprus signed the framework agreement of the India-led International Solar Alliance and became its 92nd member. The External Affairs Minister expressed firm belief that cooperation between both India and Cyprus in the field of renewable energy will gain significantly. Diplomatic relations between India and Austria were established in 1949. Traditionally, Indo-Austrian relations have been warm and friendly. There has been a regular exchange of high-level visits between the two countries. Austria, being a member of the European Union since 1995, is an important link for India in its relationship with Europe, especially with countries of Central and Eastern Europe. The Indo-Austrian Joint Economic Commission, JEC, established in 1983, is active and ongoing. There have been more than 200 collaborations, including 100 technical collaboration and 60 joint ventures between Indian and Austrian firms, especially in the fields of steel, manufacturing technology, railway and transport, equipment and metallurgy. In Vienna, Dr. Jaishankar called on the Austrian President Alexander van der Bellen. He met with Speaker of Austrian Parliament Wolfgang Sobotka, Austrian Chancellor Karl Nehammer and Foreign Minister Alexander Schallenberg. External Affairs Minister's discussions with the Austrian leadership covered bilateral cooperation as well as regional and international issues. India signed an agreement on migration and mobility with Austria besides inking other deals. India's Ministry of External Affairs said in a statement that a working holiday program agreement was signed between the two countries. This would allow Indians on holiday in Austria to find employment and work without a work permit for up to 6 months. Other agreements inked include in the areas of culture and visa-free entry of diplomatic passport holders. Dr. Jaishankar for the first time attended the Slavkov format meeting, which is a joint meeting of foreign ministers of Austria, Alexander Schallenberg, the Czech Republic, Jan Lvovsky and Slovakia, Rastislav Kajsa. The leaders held discussions on India-EU relations, on respective neighborhoods and the Ukraine conflict. The External Affairs Minister held a separate bilateral meeting with the Foreign Minister of the Czech Republic, Jan Lipavsky. He also met with Rafael Mariano, Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, and discussed furthering IAEA's collaboration with India on areas like climate change, medical care, and other nuclear applications.
Moving on, Union Defence Minister Nath Singh is on a 2-day visit to Andaman and Nicobar Islands. He will review the operational preparedness of the Andaman and Nicobar Command on Friday. He is also scheduled to take stock of the infrastructure development at the operational areas of the command and its outlying units. The Defence Minister will also visit the command units at Campbell Bay, Karnik and Diglipur, where he would be interacting with the troops. External Affairs Minister of India Dr. S. Jaishankar on Thursday spoke to new Foreign Minister of Israel Eli Cohen. In a tweet, Dr. Jaishankar said he is looking forward to partnering with him in taking India-Israel cooperation forward. He said he values the Israeli Foreign Minister's many insights, including on economy and security. The 17th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas PBD will be held from the 8th to the 10th of January in Indore, capital of Indian state of Madhya Pradesh. Briefing media in New Delhi on Thursday evening, Secretary CPV and OIA in the External Affairs Ministry, Dr. Osaf Saeed, said the formal inauguration of the PBD convention will be done by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the 9th of January. President of Guyana, Dr. Mohammad Irfan Ali, will be the chief guest, and Suriname President Chandrika Prasad Santokhi will be the special guest of honor. Pravasi Bharatiya Divas 2023 has special significance as this year marks 75 years of India's independence. This will also be the first PBD convention as India enters the Amrit Kal. Dr. Saeed said the diaspora will play a very important role in the development trajectory of India. He added that the theme this year is Diaspora Reliable Partners for India's Progress in Amrit Kal. More than 3,500 registrations from nearly 70 countries have been made by the diaspora for the event. Ministerial-level delegations and big delegations of the diaspora from several countries will participate, added Dr. Saeed.
We have ministerial level delegations from Mauritius, Malaysia, Panama, and big delegations of diaspora from several countries, including again Mauritius, UAE, USA, Qatar and Oman, besides of course other countries. We have 5 plenary sessions planned in the PBD on the themes of youth, healthcare, soft power, Indian workforce and women. 4 of these sessions would be headed by cabinet ministers, and again this is the very first time that we have cabinet ministers for various sessions, and the panelists are drawn from different walks of life. Additionally, we have a town hall plan on the G20, where the G20 Sherpa Shri Amitabh Kant as well as G20 coordinator Shri Harshvardhan Shringla will give a presentation on the India's G20 presidency.
In the Indian Union Territory of Ladakh, the Tourism Department is adding another feather to its cap with plans to start hydrotourism. Ladakh Tourism Department, in collaboration with National Hydroelectric Power Corporation (NHPC), is planning aquatic sports to begin hydrotourism at the world's highest hydropower project on the Indus River near Alchi in Leh. The UT Tourism Secretary Kacho Mehboob Ali Khan directed the officials to prepare DPRs and safety guidelines with NHPC to start the execution of related works in the coming season. Aquatic sports like kayaking, jet skiing, motorboating, ice skating during winter and boating during the summer season will be rolled out in a phased manner. Similarly, the Tourism Department is also introducing border tourism in cooperation with Fire and Fury Corps of Indian Army. This is All India Radio giving you the world news. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday ordered his defense minister to implement a ceasefire in Ukraine for 36 hours on the 6th and 7th of January 2023 to allow Orthodox Christians to attend Christmas services, according to a statement from the Kremlin. Many Orthodox Christians celebrate Christmas on the 7th of January. Earlier on Thursday, Patriarch Kirill, the leader of the Russian Orthodox Church and a vocal supporter of the war, had called for a temporary ceasefire. France has announced that it will send light AMX-10RC armoured combat vehicles to Ukraine. The announcement came after French President Emmanuel Macron called on Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Wednesday. A French official told this is the first time that Western-made armored vehicles are being delivered in support of the Ukrainian army. However, the official did not give any details about the volume or timing of the planned shipments. According to the French Armed Forces Ministry, AMX-10 is an armored reconnaissance vehicle with a high level of mobility with carrying capacity of 4 crew members. According to media reports, France has already delivered modern artillery, armored personnel carriers, anti-aircraft missiles and air defense systems to Ukraine. The U.S. House of Representatives adjourned for a second day without electing a House Speaker after Republican Kevin McCarthy fell short on 3 more ballots, failing to win a majority of support in the House. The House will reconvene on Thursday at noon. Earlier, the U.S. House of Representatives rejected Republican Kevin McCarthy's bid to lead the chamber as a small group of holdouts in the party defied former President Donald Trump's call for unity. Despite Mr. Trump's appeal, 20 Republicans on the party's right flank voted for an alternative candidate. It left McCarthy short of the majority needed to become House Speaker, a powerful post that is second in the line of succession to the presidency. McCarthy secured only 201 votes on Wednesday as 20 Republicans voted for Representative Byron Donalds, a Florida Republican first elected in 2020, and 1 Republican declined to back a specific candidate. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has promised to tackle country's most serious problems, from cutting inflation to reducing illegal migration. In a speech in East London on Wednesday, Mr. Sunak said his government would build a better future for their children and grandchildren. He listed 5 promises: halving inflation, growing the economy, reducing debt, cutting National Health Service waiting lists, and stopping the small boats that carry illegal migrants across the Channel from France. The Australian government has announced that it will invest more than $1 billion to buy new naval missiles and other ammunition to enhance capabilities of its forces on Thursday. The government in a statement said it had signed a contract with an Australia-based defence industry to deliver the Naval Strike Missile NSM. The missile will be deployed on the Hobart-class destroyers and Anzac-class frigates from 2024. The government will also acquire the land-based long-range surface-to-surface high-mobility artillery rocket system, HIMARS, which includes launchers, missiles and training rockets. Australian Defence Minister Richard Marles said in the current strategic environment, it is important that the Australian Defence Force should be equipped with high-end, targeted military capabilities. He added that the level of technology involved in these acquisitions takes our forces to the cutting edge of modern military hardware. Pope Francis paid tributes to his predecessor, former Pope Benedict XVI, on Thursday at a funeral attended by tens of thousands of mourners at St. Peter's Square. The remains of Pope Benedict XVI were interred in a tomb in the grottos under the main floor of St. Peter's Basilica. The event marked the first occasion in modern times that a pontiff had presided over the funeral of his predecessor and the first ever of one who resigned. Benedict, the first pontiff in almost 600 years to resign his position rather than hold office for life, died aged 95 on 31st December 2022 at a monastery in Vatican City. About 200,000 mourners, including Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and President Sergio Mattarella, paid their respects to the former pontiff earlier this week during his lying in state in St. Peter's Basilica. His death prompted tributes from political and religious leaders, including US President Joe Biden, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, and the Dalai Lama. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid his tributes, described Benedict as a man who devoted his entire life to the Church and the teachings of the Lord Christ. He will be remembered for his rich service to the society, Mr. Modi added. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has said he would consider suspending a 2018 interKorean military pact if the North violates its airspace again. South Korean President's office said Mr. Yoon made the comment on Wednesday after being briefed on countermeasures to North Korean drones that crossed into the South last week. He called for building an overwhelming response capability that goes beyond proportional levels. In Peru, police used tear gas to disperse protesters trying to approach Parliament Congress building on Wednesday. According to media reports, transport authorities reported 35 blockade points across the country. It said protesters marched in Lima and Arequipa and demanded the resignation of current President Dina Boluarte and closure of Congress. Meanwhile, authorities said trains to the Inca citadel of Machu Picchu had been suspended a day after some 2,062 tourists were evacuated. The police and the army guarding the headquarters of public institutions in some areas where protests were planned. Earlier, the Prime Minister Alberto Otarola had called for demonstrations to be peaceful. Thousands of protesters took to the streets 2 weeks after a wave of deadly protests over the ousting of former President Pedro Castillo. Around 2,000 people died in the protests across the country last month. In Somalia, at least 35 people, including 9 members of a single family, have died in 2 simultaneous car bomb attacks in the Hiran region on Wednesday. Mahas District Commissioner Momin Muhammad Halani told that one bomb targeted his house and the other hit the home of a member of the federal parliament. According to media reports, the Al-Qaeda-linked group Al-Shabaab claimed the responsibility for the attack. The government of the state of California declared a state of emergency as a major storm hit the western U.S. coast. The powerful bomb cyclone, a type of explosive storm, lashed into the state with heavy downpours and strong winds, damaging life and property. With its landfall, the low-pressure storm system caused heavy rainfall and snow over much of California and into the southern Oregon. Central California experienced hurricane-level wind gusts by Wednesday evening as the storm's heaviest rain and strongest winds slammed into the Bay Area. More than 40 million people were under wind alerts on Thursday morning. As the storm battered the region, about 180,000 homes and businesses in California were left without power. National Single Window System NSWS portal for various central, state and UT clearances on Thursday hit a new milestone by crossing 75,000 approvals. The portal has received 4,20,000 unique visitors from 157 countries since its inception. More than 1,50,000 investors have used KYA or Know Your Approvals module of NSWS to know the list of approvals they require for their specific business cases. A total of 75,599 approvals have been granted out of over 1,23,000 applications received. Out of these, more than 57,000 approvals have been approved by the Commerce Ministry. Consumers Affairs Ministry has given over 17,000 approvals. NSWS is providing a single interface to apply for all G2B clearances from various ministries and departments, as well as eliminating duplication of work. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has said that the Election Commission of Bangladesh is very much independent and the elections in the country will be held as per the constitutional provision, reports the official news agency BSS. A group of 4 British parliamentarians called on her in Dhaka on Wednesday. Interacting with the parliamentarians, Prime Minister Hasina said that Bangladesh follows the Westminster type of democracy and it has no problem if election observers come during the general elections. Prime Minister Hasina said that the ruling Awami League has a long tradition of fighting for the restoration of democracy from the military rulers in the past who used to grab power with the help of guns and manipulate elections after forming political parties. Meanwhile, the United States has called upon all political parties in Bangladesh to respect the rule of law and refrain from violence, harassment and intimidation. Briefing media in Washington on Tuesday, the Senate Department spokesperson Ned Price said that the U.S. has called on the government to ensure that no party or candidate threatens, incites or conducts violence against another party or candidate. Further, he said that the U.S. has called on the government to respect and protect the fundamental freedoms of expression, of association and peaceful assembly for the people of Bangladesh. The Sensex and the NSE Nifty on Thursday witnessed losses. Index of top 30 companies at Bombay Stock Exchange, Sensex, ended below 60,400 level. The Nifty index of top 50 companies at National Stock Exchange closed below the 18,000 mark. Both indices fell 0.5% even as the global cues were positive. A report from the business desk.
The Sensex fell 304 points to settle at 60,353. The Nifty also slipped 51 points to finish at 17,992. Among the global stock markets, Asian shares ended with gains. Singapore's Straits Times Index gained 1.6%, Hong Kong's Hang Seng rose 1.3%, and China's Shanghai Composite Index added 1%. South Korea's Kospi and Japan's Nikkei, both indices ended 0.4% up. European shares were mixed in intraday trade. Crude oil prices rose more than 2%. In intraday trade, Brent crude was trading at $79.60 per barrel, while the WTI crude price was at $74.50 per barrel. Back home at the multi-commodity exchange, gold futures for February was trading at 55,520 rupees per 10 grams. Silver futures for March was trading at 68,335 rupees per kilogram when reports last came in. At the forex markets, the rupee appreciated 25 paise to close at 82 rupees and 55 paise against the American unit. Rajesh Lake for World News, All India Radio.
On to sports now. In the second T20 cricket match at Pune, Sri Lanka defeated India by 16 runs a short while ago. After setting a victory target of 207 runs, Sri Lanka restricted India to 190 runs. India managed to score 190 for 8 in the stipulated 20 overs. Sri Lanka captain Dasun Shanaka scored 56 not out from 22 balls. Earlier, India won the toss and chose to field. India had won the first match by 2 runs in a nail-biting finish in Mumbai on Tuesday. And now let's take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Guardian writes, Thai police accused of sham inquiry into alleged forced labor at former Tesco supplier. The Washington Post reports, McCarthy makes fresh concessions to try to woo hard-right Republicans. The New York Times writes, actress detained for supporting Iranian protest is released. The Business Recorder writes, Imran Khan claims PMLN-led government made 2 plans to assassinate him. Wall Street Journal writes, public schools lost more than 1 million students during the pandemic. The Straits Times says, China called on the World Health Organization on Thursday to take a just position on COVID-19 after the body criticized Beijing's very narrow definition of virus deaths. And now a quick look at the headlines once again. India and France hold 36th strategic dialogue in New Delhi. India's Prime Minister meets Chairman and CEO of Microsoft Corporation on his Digital India vision. India to emerge as the most competitive source of green hydrogen and ammonia for the world, says Energy Minister R.K. Singh. France promises first Western tanks in support of Ukrainian army. U.S. House of Representatives